It's virtual day camp number 4 this week, all about fish. So fish are a really interesting group of animals, and I thought we'd take a closer look.
How close are we gonna get?
Not that well, never mind. There are 5 groups of vertebrate animals. Fish, mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians. Well, it's a little more complicated than that, and most places will split it down to at least 7 with 3 different types, different groups of fish, and it's probably a lot more complicated than that. But what we're going with here are bony fishes. So there's jawless fish, there's fish that have cartilage for bones, and then there are fish that have sort of true bones. And what we're even more specifically, what we generally think of as fish are those fish that have ray fins, like this here, as opposed to lobed fins, which are a little bit different. So we're talking about a ray-finned bony fish, which, if you're trying to impress your friends, it's Actinopterygii. It's a great word that'll prove how smart you really are. Just be careful. Virtually, it comes across a little differently. Most people think you have some sort of medical condition when you mention Actinopterygii.
Are you having a stroke?
No, it's just a really big word. It's okay. So we're talking about bony ray-finned fishes. And there's a lot of really interesting, at least in my opinion, things about the sort of normal fish that we think of. One of the first one is these gills here. So fish have to breathe oxygen, same as you and I do. Of course, they're extracting oxygen from the water instead of the air. Inside the gill of this fish, you'll find long filaments that have a tremendous amount of surface area for capillary vessels to basically exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide directly into the bloodstream. They're covered by this operculum. That's what we see on the outside. So that gill slit with an operculum on the outside. The gills are on the inside. Another really interesting thing about fishes is they're covered in scales. And these scales grow from a different part of the skin. They're different than reptile scales, but they obviously serve to protect the animal while they're in the water. And also, they often give it a really beautiful, beautiful coloration. Sometimes very cryptic, but nonetheless turns out for really beautiful fish. Some fish have chemoreceptors, these little sensory feelers around their face or the sides of their body. Think catfish or carp, that allow them to smell and taste, so to speak, their environment really, really well. Fish produce a slimy mucus that covers their body. This protects them from infection from microbes, but also helps them move through the water even quicker. And certainly, if you've ever done any fishing, you'll feel how slippery they can really be. Almost all fish lay eggs, although there are some exceptions. Fish are generally cold-blooded, which means they depend on their external environment to regulate their internal temperature, although there's exceptions to that rule too. Some fish can use tools, some fish can produce sounds. So as you can see, there's a lot of diversity in the group we know as fishes. But they're really, really cool animals, and you can experience them too. We'll do several things for Virtual Day Camp this week, including fishing and microfishing, and we have a camp kit that's still available if you're interested. We've got things like our microfishing gear, field guides, regulations, toys, snacks. They're only $5. You can email the naturalists at our email address. We hope to hear from you and hope that you guys can enjoy some fish. But don't forget, you got to get outside.